Hey guys, I'm Roman, and today I want to talk about the MobileStudio Pro, the 16. And basically, the reason I'm doing this video is I want people who are thinking about buying this to know kind of a couple things you're gonna run into uh, when you're buying it. It's not a cheap device, and I think I would have benefited from a video like this going into buying it, because I've had to shell out a bunch of extra cash just with like stupid little stuff to a lot of returns, trying to get stuff to work. And then there are a couple things that are a little bit of a headache. I do want to say, by itself, I think it's a really great device. Like this thing alone, if you're on your desk or sitting on a couch working with it, this thing is great. Um, I use Maya. I use Sketchbook Pro. Works awesome. I have run into some issues trying to connect this to that, to an external monitor, and trying to get it to work as the Cintiq that Wacom like says it can do, and it can do it, but I've run into some issues. So I kind of want to give you guys a review about that, just like a day-to-day lifestyle, like what I've had to kind of workarounds and things to kind of just get this thing working. And just like every day, like, I forgot my dongles at home, I can't get this set up, just like little things like that. Basically, one of the most important things you're gonna need, and it's these little adapters, USB-C. So this thing now doesn't have any plain USB ports, no USB 3 to any of that. They're going with USB-C, which is great because you're totally going into the future. That's the future. Like, everything's moving to USB-C. The only problem is you probably own like a buttload of stuff that's already USB 2, USB 3, and this thing only has 3 ports, and you're gonna need these. I got 3 right now. I'm probably gonna buy a couple more, just because sometimes it's easier to leave. They're pretty cheap. You can get like 2 of these for like, I think, $10. This one was like a little bit more expensive, so buy a couple. Like, if there's something you use all the time, maybe just leave one of these hooked up to it so you can just like quickly, instead of having to search and unconnect it from like other devices. So you're gonna buy a bunch of these. Like, that is number one. Not super expensive, but something I really didn't think of. What I don't like is how close these ports are together. There's like, it's like 1, 2, 3. It's fine if you're hooking up 3 USB devices, but here's one on the one side, here's one on the other, and there is no way, because of the size of the old USB stuff, there's no way you can get a 3rd device plugged in here that isn't a USB 3, USB-C device. So like, yeah, I can totally hook up, my monitor to this right in the center, and that works, because it's a smaller connector, but you're never gonna get 3 old USB devices plugged in here at the same time, unless you buy like a hub, which I would suggest, because so one of these ports is gonna be for your power. It's the only, like, it's power. And then the other port, if you do want to connect it to an external monitor, or if you're doing the Cintiq thing, that's the other port. So that's 2 right there. So that only leaves you with 1 more port to be able to do anything with. So you either have to constantly like plug one thing in, unplug it, or get yourself like a USB-C hub. And those are actually kind of pricey. Like where you can find like a standard USB hub for like, I don't know, $9 or something. These are right now I'm finding them for like between like $30 and like $90, depending on what you want them to do. I am gonna try to find one that's that allows me to either charge this thing, so I don't have to run a separate like just for charging. And there's also one that does like charging and video, but I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. And I read a couple of the reviews, and some people are like, it doesn't work on my laptop, and who knows if it'll work for this, because this is like super specific too. So yeah, the next thing is a stand. Wacom didn't ship one with this. It doesn't come at all with it. It's a added purchase, and it never shipped. They had some issue, so it's been already like 6 months or so since this thing came out. No stand for this. I feel like that's a huge drop ball on their part. Like, I also have a Microsoft Surface Pro 2, and that thing's got that little kickstand. Man, if they just put a little kickstand on this, you know, I wouldn't even be talking about this, but no kickstand on this. So you're gonna need a stand, because this thing's kind of heavy. This is, I don't know, 3 to 5 pounds, and I tried to just like hold this while I work, and your hand just gets like so tired trying to hold this up. You're gonna need a stand. So right away I knew that it didn't come with a stand, so I picked up this little guy. It's super compact. It was only $9 on Amazon, and it flips out, and it's got like, you can set it to like 3 different heights, but it actually works pretty good for $9. Pretty good. The only thing, and this would have been the same issue if they included a kickstand or actually shipped their stand. I feel like it's kind of low to the table, so because I would actually like this kind of up here personally for me. So what you can do is just get a bunch of books and like just stack it up. After I had this for a while, one of the guys at work actually has the exact same unit I do, and he picked this up for it, and it's made for a laptop, but it actually has some pretty nice features. And my favorite feature is that it's already off the ground. It's adjustable. You can kind of drop it down, bring it up a bit. The only problem that I still have with this one, and this one's by Neckstand and Roost. They kind of, I don't know if they copy each other or what, or just like licensing. It's basically the same thing, just one's more expensive than the other. So what I've been doing is I've just been propping this up with, again, the book solution. And if you're an artist, you probably have tons of art books, and they're usually big. So you just kind of prop it up forward, and you can get it to about like where you'd like it. So that's been my solution, and it's actually worked out really well. If Roost or Neckstand, if you guys are listening, man, if you could just put like some kind of tilt on this to be able to like get it to the height you want and then be able to tilt it, golden. This thing would be amazing. The other thing was, so I had my old Cintiq set up on my Ergotron arm over here, and as you can tell, there's nothing on here, and I have bought like 5 or 6 different things on Amazon that are like, Ergotron holds a tablet. None of them hold this tablet because it's freaking huge. it's too big. Like, everything either feels too flimsy, and you don't want $3,000 on like some flimsy stand, so those go back right away. So hopefully Ergotron or somebody else comes out with something for this, because that's my other thing. I'd love to have this thing just freely, this thing stays in my bag when I travel for work, or travel to like, Starbucks to do work, and then I can just like pop this onto my Ergotron arm, put it exactly where I want it, do my stuff, and I can just take it with me. I don't want something that's like locked down. I want to be able to mobile studio. You want to mobily take it with you. So hopefully they come out with something. It's mobile, so you're gonna want to take it with you to the park, Starbucks, to work. You're gonna need a bag. You're gonna need a way to transport it that it's not gonna get banged around and like break on you. So I have a pretty big messenger bag, so right away I just bought one of these sleeves. This is for like a 17-inch laptop. It fits. Yeah, it fits. I think that thing was like $9-10. Totally worth it. If you already have a bag that doesn't have like a ton of protection, I say definitely get one of those. But my messenger bag just didn't feel quite right. It just plus the width of this, holding this sideways was like just getting a little cumbersome. So I found this at a local Best Buy, and the tablet sits vertically this way, and it's actually easier to carry around vertically and on my back than I was with a messenger bag and like kind of pulled to one side. So this thing's actually pretty nice. It's by Thule, and I don't remember how much it was, like under 100. I think around like $80. But it's got like this roll top, and it's all like waterproof and like sealed and stuff, and it has this nice super padding bag inside that doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. There's still like room for this to travel, so if you kind of like put it down, you're not actually hitting any of the edges on the ground first. There's some air in there to kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels pretty good, like protection wise for this thing, and it definitely fits it. So if you're interested in a bag that's gonna that's pretty good, the Thule, whatever this thing's called, pretty good. Yeah, and it's got like tons of pockets for all the stuff. Buying this thing, I already had a workflow. Let's introduce you to my 8-year-old MacBook. I love this thing. I've had it since 2009, so it's super old. So this thing's a huge upgrade for me. Sort of. This thing's great. I dual boot. I do all my work in Windows. I use like the Mac side for just like paying bills, that kind of stuff. But it runs Windows like a champ. Actually, I feel it runs Windows like better than some Windows machines. I've had like very few issues with this. And one of the things I love about it is, which I didn't even realize I needed to love about this until I went to this, was I just plug any monitor in here and it just worked. And I can't say the same for this. And this is from 2008, and I could literally plug it into any monitor and it works. This is from the future, 2016, and you can't. So out of the box, there's no MiniDisplay port, which is fine. They're going USB-C, which handles video, and that's great. And if you're lucky enough to have a USB-C on a monitor, you only need that cable to hook it up to a monitor. I don't. This monitor has a DisplayPort and HDMI. So I was like, okay, those are good. Those are fairly new connectors. But you need to get this Wacom link, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm super disappointed that I had to buy this. This is like $60. This should have came with this, because if your intention is to use this as a Cintiq, their Cintiqs come with this for free. But it doesn't come with this thing, which is more expensive than their Cintiqs. Why? I don't know. I do know, money. But this should have been free. This should have been free for anybody who's buying a $3,000 computer that can hook up as a Cintiq. So that's super annoying. But what's even more annoying is the instructions that are just like, here, it's like one little page of, here, just hook this up and it'll work right. No. If you do not have the right, and it doesn't tell you what doesn't work. It just says, oh, don't drop it and don't get it like soaked in water. But it doesn't tell you what cables do and don't work. So I was trying to hook this thing up to HDMI. HDMI, that's new. Everything uses HDMI. Does not work. HDMI does not work with this link. Like, it doesn't tell you. It took me a lot of trial and error and then searching online to find out that this does not work with HDMI. So my monitor did not work. Luckily this thing has the display port, so I got a display port to MiniDisplay port, and that works. But you know, that's not the end of the story. So I took this thing to work and I wanted to use it there. The PC at work did not have a MiniDisplay port or display port. It had DVI, HDMI, and VGA. So I had 3 choices. It didn't want to work with any of them, like at all. So the studio I was at recently that I was really trying to get this working, they were super cool, and they got me a new computer, which had 2 video cards. One to do the Cintiq, you know, the DVI, and then, you know, the regular video card. And it took a little bit. It did. But we got it working. It took like, because once I had the MiniDisplay port, it literally took like 2 hours to get all the drivers set up correctly. That was a little annoying and a little kind of like, me and the IT guy were like so nervous it wasn't gonna work. Like, we were literally like, I don't know if this is gonna work, because it just sat like downloading a driver, like the bar wasn't moving for like an hour. And we're just like, I don't know. And this is after you download the Wacom drivers to both of these. Like, so we were kind of like, but it finally worked. And it worked great. It worked exactly like I wanted. I had my, you know, main monitor. I was animating on here. And a week in, the video card just died that was connecting this thing. Not in here, but in the computer. That MiniDisplay port video card just died, and anything you connected to it, it just like, the computer just started like freaking out. And you know, we tried updating drivers, all that stuff, but that was like really it was a kind of sad moment, because I was like, I see it, it's working, and it was working, and just like something happened, and he didn't know why, and I was in the middle of like a huge project, and I just didn't have time to kind of keep fumbling around with this, trying to get it to work. I couldn't like, they were super nice about getting me a computer. I couldn't ask them for another one, basically because it was like, it's my toy. It's not like I really needed it at work. It would have been cool to like have it that way, but I was like, I just gotta get my work done. So I ended up putting this away. The idea of using this as Cintiq, I put it away. I'm really curious why it happened. Like, was that just like an off chance, or if anybody else has had it happen? Like, I would love to hear about it, because Wacom needs to know if this is like an ongoing issue where people's video cards are getting burnt out because of this thing, the link, or just the way certain things are working. Like, they need to know. So if this has happened to you, like, definitely write a comment. Definitely let Wacom know. If it's just me, that's my luck. But I don't know. It was, but it worked great. When it did work, it did exactly what I wanted. It did one weird thing, and maybe that's just the features of display toggle. Like, whenever a new window opened and I was on that monitor, even though the window popped up in that monitor, like the second monitor, my cursor would always pop up here. And that was super weird. I don't remember that happening with my Cintiq, so maybe it's just like a settings thing. But I'm never gonna, like, I don't know when the next time I'm gonna try to get this thing set up as a Cintiq. But yeah, it was a little trial and error to get it working. It was a lot of buying these to get it to work, and not all of these work. And I haven't even had a chance to buy the ones that when Wacom customer service did get back to me, they actually were like, oh, you should only look at these two brands because they're the only ones that, like, we would recommend using. And it's like, put that down in this piece of paper. Like, if you know something actually works and you don't say it, like, you've just given your customers a huge headache buying these that don't work if you know something works. So it was kind of annoying when I finally heard that. It's like, wait a minute, you knew of ones that work? Why isn't there, like, a website, like a web page that says, hey, this model works, this model works, this model works? I don't get it. So if you're thinking of using it as a Cintiq or second monitor, these are a couple of things you gotta, like, you're gonna find out. Where they put the headphone jack, it's like, why wouldn't you just put it with all the rest of the cables? So, like, for cable management purposes, it's over here, like right next to this. Instead, they put it here. And it doesn't seem like such a big deal, but here's the thing. When you're using your express keys, you're always gonna be, like, bumping into this thing. And, like, I just don't get it. Like, why wouldn't you just put it, like, right there? So it's there with the rest of the cables. Just, like, a little thing like that. I don't get it. But other than that, it's pretty solid. Yeah, so overall, this thing's pretty sweet. It does exactly what it says. It's mobile. It's a studio. I mean, I've run mine on here. I've run some pretty heavy scenes. Not rendering, animating. I don't know how this thing can render. I don't know if it's meant to do it, but for, like, animating, doing a little modeling, I've been doing, like, video editing on it. It's pretty solid. It's freaking loud though. Like, right in this corner, it's, like, loud and hot. But you can't get away with that. Like, every computer gets, like, loud and hot. That's, like, this size. It's good though. Overall, I just want you guys to know, like, what the things are I've run into, and, like, I would have appreciated knowing that, like, I should really find out what dongles I need up front before buying a bunch and finding out none of them work. So I will write down which ones that Wacom actually specified, like, little things like that. Like, definitely get a USB-C hub. You're gonna need it, because I can only fit one more thing in here right now. Like, this is video, this is power. And until I can find a USB hub that kind of takes care of all of those, I'm only gonna have this one extra plug. Yeah, and if one of you stand companies comes up with something for this thing, please do. And yeah, it's pretty solid. So you're not gonna feel like you wasted your money if you know what you're getting into. Yeah.